The princess, after 15 years of marriage, had never worn makeup, but on the day of her divorce, she dressed stunningly. She painted her lips, adorned her hair, and wore exquisite clothing because, from that moment on, she was going to live for herself and become someone unattainable for her despicable husband, the prince. When the princess began to dance in her palace, everyone present was astonished. What no one knew was that the princess was not a person from ancient times, but an elite scientist from the 21st century who had accidentally traveled into the world of a novel she had read, becoming the unfortunate princess unloved by her husband. It turned out that the original princess was pregnant, but before she could carry the child to term, the prince forced her to have an abortion, all because a cunning concubine falsely accused her of pushing her, supposedly causing a miscarriage. The heartless prince, without a second thought, ordered the unborn child to be killed without a shred of remorse. Afterward, the concubine boasted about possessing the dead baby's placenta. Devastated, the princess was ready to confront the woman, but just at that moment, the prince saw her and violently pushed her to the ground. He believed that he had never consummated the marriage with her, and assumed the baby was a monster unworthy of life. What he didn't know was that on that very night, the cunning concubine had drugged him, and he had ended up in the princess's chamber. No matter how much the princess tried to explain, he refused to believe a word. He pushed her again, and tragically, she died instantly. After receiving the original princess's memories, the time-traveling woman decided to take revenge. At that moment, the furious prince stormed into the palace with the concubine and demanded that the woman apologize for pushing the concubine. But what he didn't know was that the woman was no longer the weak princess of the past. She immediately knocked the concubine down, which only enraged the prince further. He then ordered that all supplies to the princess's palace be cut off until she begged for his forgiveness. However, the princess was no longer afraid. She took a box from her belongings and began working with her tools. In just one night, she created a tricycle and decided to mass-produce them to become wealthy. On the day of the launch, she sent her maid to ride the tricycle while she sat in the back, striking a gong, drawing the attention of a large crowd. Everyone was intrigued by this innovative tricycle. Seizing the opportunity, she began selling them, offering a special promotion for groups of 3. The product originality and her creative sales strategy led to the tricycles selling out quickly, earning her a fortune. At that moment, the emperor, who was undercover, witnessed the scene and, after investigating, learned about the princess's invention. Impressed, he ordered one for himself and soon became fascinated by its ingenuity. Upon discovering that the creator of the tricycle was the famous princess, the emperor immediately summoned the prince and ordered him to bring the entire family to the palace to attend the empress's birthday banquet. However, when the prince arrived at the princess's palace, he was greeted with a bucket of spiritual waste dumped right on him.